Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video we're going to be taking another look at the Simply Cards and Papercraft magazine, issue 206. I'm going to be looking at these downloadable digital stamps. So you can see here on the right hand side, these are the stamps that you can download. And the two that I'm going to be using for cards today are these two, and I have downloaded and printed a few sentiments as well. So what I've actually done is printed this image onto craft paper. So this is quite thin, probably about 80 GSM craft paper. And we're going to be using some watercolour pencils just to colour these in. So I have printed two, and the reason I've done this is because I don't want to waste the other sort of side of the paper. So this white paper again is that smooth cardstock. That's, I think it was 120 GSM, but it's like a super smooth cardstock. So it goes through the printer really well. So I wanted to make the most of printing it and making the most of the paper. So that's why I've cut two of these images on both of these cardstocks. If you want to know how to download these images, you can check out my last video. I'll pop a link up in the corner, and I show you then how to get onto the website. You just need to register and where to find these digital downloads. So as I said a minute ago, I'm going to be colouring these in with some watercolour pencil. So I don't do a lot of colouring sort of like this, but I wanted to do something really nice and simple and something that was bright that would stand out on this craft card. So again, just really real basic watercolour pencils here. So I did try colouring in with some alcohol markers, but it didn't show up at all. So for me, I think it's sort of one of the easiest ways of getting a really nice vibrant colour onto this craft paper is to colour in using some sort of colouring pencil. So I'll be colouring these images in very much like I would if I was using my alcohol markers. So I've picked 3 different shades of green. I'm just laying down at the moment the darkest colour, and I decided just to do all of that in one go. So doing all of the darkest colour in one go and then moving on to the medium colour. I'm trying to keep the sort of shadows in that sort of roughly in the same direction. Obviously you've got some leaves there that are sort of faced in different ways, and I want to make sure that everything kind of looks the same in terms of the highlights and the shadows, but obviously you can colour this in however you want. So in the magazine they do colour it in with alcohol markers, and I think it looked really fabulous, and I think this is such a lovely image to colour in, and I think it'll make a really brilliant card. So you can see there I've done all of the dark. Now I'm just moving into that medium colour, and already just that real simple bit of shading, you can see how this is going to come together. So both the cards I'm going to make today are 7 by 5 inch. So when we come to cut this particular panel out, I just add a really thin border just around the outside, and then I'm going to attach it onto just a plain white card base. So in addition to sort of doing the highlights and lowlights there with the green, you've also seen me just bring in this white colouring pencil and just use that to highlight the sort of top bit, so where the light would be hitting the leaves, and I think it makes such a difference. I do think bringing in this white pencil, it works really, really well on this craft paper, but it just really sort of gives it that better bit of dimension. You could also use like a white gel pen if you wanted to, but I just think using the white coloured pencil just sort of really blended in quite nicely. And then you see me colour in those small little sort of bubbles or dots and with that white pencil as well, just to kind of make everything just a little bit lighter. So all I'm going to do now is just do basically the same kind of basic colouring with these two flowers. So I really wanted to do something a little bit brighter as well to go with those leaves. I think everything really stands nicely off the page. I think craft paper is one of those sort of I don't think it's utilised maybe as much as what it should be. Certainly for my personal crafting, I don't use it very much. This was a new sort of pack that I bought. I'll put the link down below. Got it from Amazon and it was relatively cheap. I did think it was going to be a little bit thicker, so you wouldn't be able to make a card from this paper. Like I said earlier, I think it's probably about 80 GSM, but it went through the printer fabulously. You know, colouring it in this way works really well, and I think, you know, if you were to use it, sort of see if you could blend onto it, maybe something like a distress oxide might work well on the craft paper, but I'm certainly going to look at what projects I can use this craft paper in. And it's sort of a recycled paper as well, so it's got a really nice sort of grain and a little bit of a speckled finish to it, which is really, really nice. So now I'm just adding that white pencil just onto, again, highlight the tops of the flowers where we have got it looking like that's where the light is hitting those flowers. And again, I think it just makes it sort of pop off the page just a little bit more. So that is now our sort of card background all finished. So these digital stamps really are fabulous. I mean, you can print them onto, you know, any sort of coloured card that you want to, anything that'll go through your printer. You can also have a go at hot foiling this. So I have had a go just using a laminator. Personally, for me, I never get the best results, but again, it is something that you could do. So let's take a look at the next card and the next digital stamp that we have printed. So again, I'm just going to cut this in half. So I've got another piece there ready to go for another project. So it just makes the most out of the sort of printing that you are doing. So I'm going to use some alcohol markers for this. I'm using my Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir pens, and you can see we've got a citrus green, purple blend, orange blend, and blue turquoise blend. And I also add in then the deep red as well, sort of just near the end. So I've printed this using a laser printer, so it's got toner rather than sort of the ink cartridges like an inkjet printer. I wasn't sure, to be honest, whether the ink would actually smudge or run using these alcohol markers on top of it, but it worked perfectly. There was no sort of movement of that ink whatsoever, which is good. I mean, it's not something I thought of until I sort of started colouring, but it worked out perfectly. So all I'm going to do to colour these in is just a really basic bit of colouring. So I've got these Tri-Blend markers. So you've got a light, a medium and a dark nib. So you don't have to worry about trying to sort of pick colours to blend together. And what I'm going to do is a really sort of basic, I'm just going to colour in using the lightest end. And then I'm just going to put some really basic sort of detail in. So I'm not looking to get any sort of proper shading or anything like that. I'm not worried about it looking sort of too realistic like I've tried to do with the last image that we coloured. Again, just, yeah, really sort of simple with this colouring for this particular card. I really love how both of these images have coloured in. I think it's going to be a great addition to your sort of craft shelf. I know obviously it's not going to be a physical product that you've got in front of you, but if you wanted to sit down and print a whole bunch of these out in one go, then you could really have them just sat there as a sort of go-to. So there's our finished image. So like I said, I'm not done too much in the way of shading, just some really basic bit of detailing on there, just to sort of colour it in. So here we've got our sentiments. So I've printed 4 of each and I got 4 onto a page, and I'm just going to literally trim these down. So I'm going to do one of the just for yous, and then it's going to be happy birthday on the other. So you can see I've cut this panel out and I've just left a really nice sort of craft border around this card, and I think it sort of gives it the impression that it's been matte and layered when it hasn't been. So we can go ahead and put this card together. So you can see our sentiment there I've turned into a banner. So I've just cut it out using my paper trimmer, and then just taken my scissors to give it that nice sort of banner edge, and that's going to go into the middle. So something I don't do too often is have really wide borders on my cards, but actually in this instance I really love it because you've got that really big white border from the card, you've got that really small sort of craft border, and then you've got that black single outline of the actual digital image itself, and I think it looks absolutely lovely. I think it really is something perhaps that I should try to do a little bit more often. To add a little bit of dimension to our card, I'm going to pop our sentiment onto some foam tape, and that's just going to make it stand out from the card and just, like I said, give it the card a little bit more interest. So I'm just going to take this sort of banner sentiment that we've got now, and this is just going to go right in the middle. So what I'm going to do just to finish this card off is put some of these 3D pearl drops on the card, because you've got those circles sort of in and around, and I wanted to kind of fill in just a little bit of that gap that's around these sentiments. So I'm just going to kind of do clusters of 3s and 2s, and I do put a couple of single ones in there as well, just to kind of finish it off a little bit more. So that is then our finished card, and I really love it. I think it's such a simple image, but you could do so much with this, and I really love having it on that craft paper. I think that works perfectly. So let's now pop together our second card. So I'm going to mat and layer this, so you can see I've got a piece of black cardstock that we're just going to pop on the card first. And this is really going to make our image sort of stand out. The outline of the image itself is going to stand out, and then those colours against that black is just going to look really, really vibrant. So you can see just mat and layering, everything just really pops off the page now because of that black card. So all we've got left to do now is just pop the sentiment on. So we've got this just for you sentiment. I've mat and layered that again onto some black cardstock, and I'm just going to pop that onto some foam pads, and that's going to go directly into the middle. So what you could do is, if you've got a stamp that'll fit in between those two lines, you could stamp a sentiment in there, but I wanted to use one of the sentiments that came from this download. So I've just almost turned it into a bit of into a banner with that sort of black bit behind, and I think it looks really nice. So what we're going to do again, just to finish this cut off, is take those pearl drops again, and we're just going to scatter a few just around the edges, and this will just sort of give the card again a little bit of dimension, a little bit more interest, and just finish it off. But do make sure that you let these dry before you put it in an envelope or you try touching it or whatever. You can leave it for a good few hours for these drops to then go hard. So here are our 2 finished cards, and you can see just how quick and easy these cards were to come together. It pretty much is like printing a card already. All you have to do is just colour it in if you wanted to, or you could leave it black and white. So really sort of worth having a go at downloading and seeing the kinds of projects that you can make with them, because you might find that just having a stack of these printed in your craft stash might just make the world of difference. So that's it for this video. I hope I've given you a little bit more inspiration on what you can do with what's come free within this month's issue of Simply Cards and Papercraft. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, then please do so and hit that bell notification so you don't miss out on any of the videos that I do upload. If you like this particular video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. If there's something in particular that you'd like to see or you'd like me to sort of demonstrate in more detail, then please again leave a comment down below and I will try my hardest to create a video that you guys want to see. So thanks very much for watching and happy crafting!